Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today I'm going to be painting a lion with watercolor, and it's going to be pretty loose and it's going to be pretty quick and simple. But I'm going to show you the one thing that's very important with any animal portraits that you are painting. And
Hello, precious people.
okay, we are working.
Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles.
We're working. That's good. That's good. I like to hear my voice. Well, sometimes. Sometimes I feel like it sounds a little weird, but I don't know if you feel that way too about when you are recording yourself and then you listen to it again, like, oh, it doesn't sound right to you, does it? Because we're used to hearing our own voice through our head. And so when we hear it in like how other people hear it, it sounds weird. It's kind of funny because recently I've been secretly taping my husband to play back for him and say, see, we don't understand what you're saying. He's got a very thick accent for a southern accent, and it's funny sometimes. He's very country, and so I just like, what'd you say? Can you say that a little more clear? And he says it the exact same way. So I'm like, yeah, there's probably no hope. But he doesn't even know what he's saying when you record him and play it back. So that's pretty funny. But today I wanted to here's a painting I did of a lion in my Bible, but we're going to be doing a painting on some arch paper. I already drew my lion beforehand so that I don't have to take too much time. And I'm going to reposition my light source so you can see kind of my palette here. I had a little crisis. I went to go get my paints out of and my brushes out of my car, and my car's not in the garage. Like, I went out there and it's just empty garage. And then I remembered, oh yeah, my husband's gonna go get some parts for his truck because his truck won't start. So be prayerful for the fix to be simple and inexpensive for that. But he did ask if he could use my car and go and get the parts he needs from the store. And I said, yeah, without remembering that I had not taken my paints out of my car. So they were in my car. They're still in my car. But luckily I have like all these little doodads in a cute little box that my dear friend, Christy had gave me. This is a old cigar box. It's super cool. I like this box so much. And I just put all my little tubes of watercolor paints in there, which makes it kind of cool. I like neat things like that. Also, since all my paint brushes are in my car, I'm like, what am I going to use to paint with? Y'all, these are, I don't even know if these are going to work. Here's a couple more little, I can use like this teeny tiny one maybe. I don't know. I have some on my desk here that I'm going to try and use. So we don't know how these are going to work today because I'm not used to using them, but I have tried painting with them before. This is Fumui. I don't know how to say that. Some of these are just random. I don't know. This is Master of Touch. I do kind of like it. It's soft. But watercolor brushes need to be kind of a softer brush. If you're using acrylic, you need a stiffer brush. So this is kind of stiffer. This is soft, but this one, I don't know. You can just, I always say, if you're going to upgrade on any of your watercolor supplies, upgrade your paper. Probably next would be your paints, and then last would be brushes. So let's see if I can actually paint this with these random brushes from my desk. So we are going to get going. Let me put my Bible over here, since we're not going to be painting in the Bible today. We're going to be painting on this piece of paper. Hopefully there's room. Let me see if I got room. Gotta have some room right here. So I have all these yellows. A lion is kind of yellow oranges. Let's see if we got some good colors that we can use. Mayberry blue. This is a cad yellow deep. I love this palette that my friend made me. She is so talented with the with her pottery, and her name is Melinda, and she is Primrose Pottery. You can look her up. She's a local artist for Baldwin County in Alabama. So I do have some yellow here, but I think I'm needing, I don't know if I need some raw sienna. I need lots of dark yellows and oranges. I don't have any on this little palette. I'm going to use this. That looks like a good color. Let's see what else we got. Ooh, what about this cad orange? Let's do some cad orange. That's a pretty nice color. We'll put it right here. Look at that. And I think, y'all, this one is 30 years old. They don't go bad. Sometimes they dry up, but they don't go bad. New Gamboge. New Gamboge. Do I need the New Gamboge? I don't know. I can't open it. If your fingers are like mine, a little arthritic, can't do nothing with them. This is raw umber. So that was raw sienna. This is going to be raw umber. I don't know how much of this I need. Come on out. Oh yeah, that's a good color. It's a good color for a lion. I have seen people paint lions with the rainbow colors, which is kind of cool too. That's not technically my style, so I don't normally use it too much. Ooh, burnt sienna. Burnt sienna, very important, I think, as well. We're going to put that over here. Ooh, it's almost red. It's kind of pretty. And this one I bought fairly new. It's professional grade. So that's burnt sienna. These were burnt sienna too. This one's the old one. I'm not using that one. What about alizarin crimson? Let's see if we need alizarin crimson. I'm gonna put a little bit in there. So as I'm squirting these on the palette, I want you guys to realize that your palette can dry and you can rehydrate it. So do not wash off your palettes when you are done painting, because you can always use these paints more later. What is this one? What color are you? Oh, cad red. Do I need a cad red? I don't know if I need a cad red. Ooh, that's super bright. I don't know if I need that. We can put just a smidge. We can put a smidge. Look at that, super bright. If you guys don't follow me on other social media sites like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, or even Nextdoor, I do Nextdoor. Those are places where I've been posting my acrylic paintings I've been doing. Oh, we need Payne's Gray, and I'm not sure if any of these on here are Payne's Gray. So we're just, oh, it's hard to open that one. Uh-oh, ouch, that hurts the fingers. Let's just hope that's Payne's Gray, because you need Payne's Gray when you're painting. All right, first and foremost, what do we do with a portrait like this? We are going to, and I know this is not super clean water, but that's okay. I am just painting his mane. Oh yeah, gotta paint all this stuff. Painting all this. And I'm not gonna paint his chinny chin chin because his chinny chin chin is white. So we don't want to paint that. And you might be like, I don't even see what you're painting. This is water. That's why. It's clear, clean water. You gotta wet your paper. Sometimes wetting this paper is very difficult to do because arch paper absorbs so much water it dries pretty quick, but once you get it saturated, then it doesn't dry very quick at all. I am just going around this drawing right here, and I'm just kind of going around the face where I drew just to make sure I have a fairly well defined image. What is all this? There we go. I think that's pretty good. If it's not perfectly wet all the way around, don't worry about it. It's somewhat wet. It's damp enough, I think, that I can do something. So now we're going to use, and I should look at the image on my phone because I am very bad at remembering what something looks like. So if I pull it up on my phone, which I have this image right here, I can put it right there so I can see it. So we're going to use some of this. We're going to use some of this. That's too much though. We're going to just put some in here. Look at all that. Look at how it spreads. I love how that looks. Don't you love how that looks? I love how watercolor just spreads out and fills up the whole thing. I love how fast you can paint with watercolor. But yeah, I have been doing more acrylic paintings lately, which is kind of fun. So that's something that I used to paint with a long time ago. In a galaxy far, 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 far away, which was California. Anyways, this is a wash of yellowish colors. That was that, I think, raw umber. Raw umber? Raw sienna. One of those raws. So I just did that color, right? And look at how this is very pale. You can't barely see it. That's what you want to do with your first wash. I don't know which one of these brushes will work best. But we'll try this smaller one, and I'm going to get just a little bit of this other, maybe raw sienna, raw umber, whatever this other one is. And we're just going in there, adding a little bit more. I would follow the direction of the hair. So like if the mane is going this way, make your brush strokes go that way. Don't go that way. Don't go the opposite. Right now I'm allowing my eyes to kind of wander around this painting and see, what do I want to do? I want to add this darker color in there. If it's not blending, you can always go in with your brush and get it blending. I don't know what that is. Get off of there. What are you? What is that? See, when you have bad brushes, sometimes they fall apart on you. Sometimes the little hairs come out, and that's frustrating. I don't know about you. I don't like it. So if you have a brush that's cheap and falling apart, don't use it. It's going to frustrate you. I'm going to add a little bit of Payne's Gray to the tops here, because like that's going to blend with that yellow and make really pretty, right? Just a really pretty blend with the yellow. Payne's Gray and yellow. Super pretty. And I am trying to stick to the painting or to the photo, but I can be a little creative with where I put some of these shadows, right? I don't have to stick 100% to it. That's artistic license, y'all. You can do what you want as the artist, right? That's starting to look like a lion. I'm going to add this Payne's Gray down here where I kind of put where I think these, I like that it's still real damp down here because it's blending and bleeding in there, which is kind of cool. What you want is to let that look kind of feathery. Sometimes we fight the watercolor, right? We fight it. We don't like it. It's making us angry because when you put your paint down, it spreads somewhere. Maybe you don't want it to spread, but when you learn how it reacts after practicing for many months every day, you can start to learn what it's going to do, and then you won't be so frustrated or fight it. You'll use it to your advantage. So right now I'm just getting a nice super wash. It's just a wash right now. There's nothing detailed yet. This is how I start all my pet portraits in a way. I do something with just doing a quick wash on there. I don't know if I want to do blue in this background. This is the only background showing. If I want to leave it white, sometimes that's good. You can have some white, because look at how it contrasts with the dark down here. So we could have white, dark, and then the face of this lion. And this lion is looking right at you. Can be a little intimidating if you face a lion, right? But it was funny last night at my small group, there was someone talking about um, the book Narnia and how Lucy asks, is he a safe lion? Talking about Aslan. And they said, oh no, he's not safe, but he's good. And so that is what, I think about when I think about God, and he's very powerful. And that's not safe to have um, something very, 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 very powerful, right? Like nuclear weapons, they're not safe. They're very, very, very powerful. Um, and if you think about how, do I want this color in here? Oh yeah. If you think about how I don't like nuclear bombs, of course, but if you think about it, they're supposed to deter people from being um, violent, right? Other countries. That's what they were designed to do. Um, and a lot of people don't like that. They don't like it because then it's like, well, it's not fair to some of these other countries being told what to do and threatened. No, and that's why we have a whole world of, the community talking to each other and trying to decide what's good for the world, right? Um, but when I saw that Oppenheimer movie, I was like, they didn't even know what was going to happen. That's just crazy when they unleashed that bomb. It was like, whoa. But I digress. I go down a little rabbit hole here, right? But I'm trying to point out that sometimes things aren't safe, um, but they're necessary for good to protect. And I know that my God protects. Like he is good. He protects. Does everything go my way? No. But I know that he is good. And he works all things for good. So this is turning really pretty. I like this little framing of the face. But right now I'm not getting a lot of detail. Let me see if I can just mix this maybe with a little bit of that color and see what happens down here. That's kind of a greenish color, ain't it? I don't know, it's kind of cool. We'll stick with it. Sometimes there's a color that you mix, you're like, what is that? And it ends up being okay. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of your colors. They're good. We need to use them and learn how to use them. So a lot of times shadows, like these shadows under here, they don't look yellow and they don't look black. They don't look gray. They look, well, this one's kind of greenish, to be honest. I don't know, I might make this my in-person advanced class for next month if you're interested in learning advanced watercolor techniques. I have a class. The first Sunday of the month is my advanced class. The second is my beginner class. So you may want to check out my website just to see that if you live nearby. And let's see what we're doing now. So I like how this is going. And another thing with watercolor, you gotta always be a little bit patient with it. It doesn't like to be rushed. Now some people do, and I'm one of them who like to put a hairdryer or a heat tool of some sort on them just to get them drying a little quicker. But I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just putting some lines. Lines. All right. So that's looking fairly decent. And we're getting to the part that's super important to get right. So I'm going to use some of this very pale yellow that's on here. I don't know what yellow that is. I'm going to mix it with some water. And I'm going to, let's see if I can do close up so you can see what I'm doing here. So the eyes. So what I'm going to do is just fill this in with this very bright yellow. And see, I wish I had my good brushes because they would be easier to use. These are not easy to use. See how I filled that whole thing in? And it's very blobby. There's a blob of yellow in there. So we are going to dry off my brush, rinse, rinse and dry, right? Rinse and dry. Now I want to see, what about this color for the nose? Because we might as well work on another part of this lion while we're waiting for things to dry. And I just filled that whole part in like that. And it's good to have a accurate drawing. If you guys don't have accurate drawings, you'll probably struggle. And I'm a firm believer you can use tracing apps, you can use whatever you really want. I'm okay with that. I don't think it's cheating. Someone else said it's cheating. I'm like, no, it's not cheating. Ooh, did you see that? That's no good. No good. Because that's too wet, probably. But it's okay. Actually, it kind of darkened the brightness right there, and I didn't like that bright color anyway, right? Happy mistakes. So now I'm just going to go down a little bit into the mouth area and curve out that spot. So he's starting to look like a lion, y'all, a lion. And see how I just used some clean water and I'm spreading that out towards the bottom, and that helps get rid of all that white and make it look more like fur. And it's just little things like that. You just want to keep doing little things here and there. Sometimes I like to add the darks in kind of early just to help me figure out where they're supposed to be. The darkest darks. Now sometimes watercolor likes to spread. See this bloom? I don't like that. So I'm lifting away from where I don't want it going because it's too saturated right there. Right here too. I'm gonna wipe it away. So see how you can erase a little bit with watercolor, which is kind of cool. So now I'm gonna see, and that's the thing, when you get used to certain tools that you use all the time, like your certain brush, your certain paper, your certain paints, you switch to something maybe like it's supposedly better, and then you're like, I don't like it because it reacts different than what I'm used to. And that can be frustrating, but then if you really think about it, you can practice with their new supplies, and that might help improve your painting. So don't give up on a new supply just because it's frustrating and you don't know how to kind of use it. Practicing with it will be the way to get better. And see how I'm just keep adding color here. And I don't know, I think this is supposed to be dark. So I'm just going to lift that a little bit. Definitely not used to this brush. This brush is driving me a little bit bonkers. But it's okay. Because I'm going to persevere. Right? And let's see what else we got. Some people like to paint really thick with their watercolors. And as you can see, I'm painting really loosely and it's kind of going wherever it wants to go. And if it's not flowing, you need more water. You need more water. Because that's what we're using, right? Watercolor. So that's looking pretty good. I like how it's kind of darker oranges up there. And I like that. I like how that's looking. And let's see about these eyes, because I think they're still wet, which is great. And now I'm going to switch to a, do I have a smaller brush? I have these little tiny ones. Let's see what happens if I use a little tiny one. Let's see what happens when we add a little green. That's kind of cool to add this green that's on there. And see where it kind of goes. And see how I'm just doing it kind of on the top? So I'm keeping that yellow kind of at the bottom, right? And I'm not worried about preserving the white speck in the eye because I use a gel pen at the end. That makes life easier. If you have a cat portrait you're doing with whiskers, just do the gel pen at the end. It's so much easier than trying to preserve white whiskers. I don't like masking fluid. It's just one of those things I just don't like it. It's too frustrating for me. Now I'm adding a little bit of this raw sienna, I think. Raw sienna. And I'm just putting it here and there. See how it's still really wet in the eye? So it's kind of blending with that yellow. You can definitely blend on there, right? And you can even get some of this raw or this burnt. You can add a little bit of this color if you want the eyes to have a little bit more color in them. Like I said, you don't have to follow what it is, but I might add some more green because that just makes it look kind of cool. And I haven't put the pupil in at all. I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing. See if I can zoom in just a little bit more for you guys. So see the eyes, they're not even detailed yet, but this is the one thing you need to get right is the eyes. You can have the hair a hot mess. You can even have the mouth and the nose a hot mess like I did this one. But if you get the eyes right, you got like 90% of this painting. So it's actually pretty good sound advice, I think. So now I'm going to add the pupil and see what happens. Let's see what happens. And it's looking like it's spreading out, which is kind of cool. Same over here, gonna do that, right? So that's actually making the eyes come out a little bit. They're not done. Nothing on these eyes are done. We're just working on them. I'm hopeful that this is gonna be done in an hour. Sometimes I take too long. Not always, but sometimes. And see how I'm just adding this in nice and dark, where these little nostrils are. Let's see. I don't know if I drew these too big or if the paint just spread. I think the paint just spread. So see how that's looking? That's looking pretty good. So, and then down into the mouth. We can add down in here and keep adding outward from there. And as it goes outward from the darkest dark, it starts to lighten. And that's kind of what you want. You want to do that so that it lightens as you go away from there. And then you can add little dots here. It looks like there's little dots. A lot of times I end up going zoom in on my phone to see if the details are a little bit better. If I do that, it is hard to not Um, it's harder sometimes to not see what you're painting too good. And you gotta be like, can't see it that good. So let's see what happens. I'll put that in there. Look at that. That's looking good. And so, definitely need some better brushes. I am struggling a little bit with these, but that's okay. So let's zoom him back out and see what happens. Yep, he's looking like a lion of Judah. Let's see what we can do next. Let's use this bigger one. I don't even know what this is. Size 12. What is this size 12 supposed to do? Mixing this paint color for the face. He's got a lot of Payne's gray in there. And I may just go and do that Payne's gray where I kind of drew to get me those pieces in there, right? I want to do something to get those in there. I did kind of put some stuff in there. Again, we need water. We don't have water. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna flow. It's not gonna make it look good. And this is not the final color. Like you're looking at this going, what is she doing? Well, I am putting down some washes that will help define what this is. And if you think about it, all this muzzle area is going to be real pale anyways. I'm looking. Now this is when we start to add a little bit of that yellow into the grayish color because we need to bring it out just a little bit. And we're still letting our eyes do a lot of looking and not thinking. Just kind of looking at the whole picture and trying to figure out where color is going, where's light going. And then you can keep adding some of that color into it and it'll mix and start to create the final colors that we need. And see how it's just kind of bringing it out, this yellow. I almost feel like we need a little bit more burnt umber over here. And then maybe a little bit here. See, we're just kind of almost chiseling out what we need. And as I keep painting, it's getting closer and closer to those edges that I need. This is actually a pretty good point on this one. That other one's point was not that great, even though it was a smaller brush. So you definitely need to look at which ones you really need. What size is sometimes a bigger size with a nicer point is what we need. And see, I'm just going to add a couple of these colors to tie it in to this part. It's almost like that dry brush technique. See how I'm adding a couple little wispies in here? That adds a lot just in as far as composition and overall color. So it's starting to look good. May end up with some more of this yellow. And see, I just think that looks so cute and pretty. Cute and pretty. And then this darker area in there. Getting closer to the eye right there. And a little bit more on the top. And might add a little more Payne's Gray back in there. So this Payne's Gray is really going to add something in there. But how are you guys doing? Just checking in with y'all. I'm definitely I'm doing pretty good today. Trying to figure out what we're gonna do with poor Jeremy's truck. But that's okay. God's got it. I don't like that green. Sometimes I'm working in wet areas and it's not gonna be good. When you keep working in something and it's just kind of disappearing every brush stroke, then you know it's just too wet to do anything, and you're gonna have to kind of stop for a minute and let it rest. I'm always saying, let your painting rest. But see how all that's looking? I'm really liking how that's looking. Some of these colors might be a little bit, I don't know if that's supposed to be darker. What are these things called on a lion's face? That'd be interesting to know. And now I'm going to add that darker color right in there, kind of the shadow side of that eye. If you want to see it up close, I can show you. So see how I just did the top part right there? It's really kind of a shadow. I'm going to go back into some of this area and add, let me see what this is. There we go. I'm going to add some color, darker colors, because see, as I'm layering, the colors get brighter. And a lot of times when you're painting with watercolor, you want it to be bright, like the final piece from the first brush stroke. And it's not, that's not how watercolor works, at least the way I paint. The loose style that I paint in, you need to have a little bit more patience with getting those colors in there. But you can really do a lot with being patient, being a little bit more layering of these colors, and don't get too bogged down. I know if you're used to acrylic painting, this is gonna be tougher because you're used to putting a thicker paint on that's gonna be like the color you want it to be, right? But the problem with the acrylics is that you can't get all these magical little washes and bleeds and blends. It's really hard to get that loose feel with acrylics. So that's why I kind of like these watercolors, because they just make it look so much more loose and abstract. Really, I kind of like that abstracting color. And see how I'm adding these darker colors in here now? I'm adding a little thicker paint. I'm still kind of going in the direction of the hair, so it'll keep going that direction and look more like the hair that we need in there. Let's see how I'm doing that. Now you can add more yellow down into the bottom if you want. It's really wet. That's, I'm dabbing that out. You probably can't see it because I'm off screen now. There we go. How about that? So he's looking really kind of gray in the face to me, kind of greenish. So I want to kind of tone that down a little bit. So I'm going to add this color. What happens when you paint over something? What happens to it? It's really magical when it's watercolor because it blends with what's underneath. But see, we get those nice areas. I already put the dark, chiseled out the things we want. And then these are a little lighter. So see how that's changing? And I can do this several times if I don't like the color that's on there. And I'm just blending this with a little bit of a soft touch brush. There we go. So that's looking good. You'll see when I get those eyes done. I have to get really would like my brush back. I don't think he came back yet. What's this brush gonna do? Let's try this one. See what happens. So using a little bit of Payne's Gray, I'm going to use this very small brush. And I'm going to try and get the outline of that eye. And sometimes this is a little nerve-wracking, right? Because you're like, I don't want to mess up. It's okay if you mess up. You dab it with a paper towel. All right? Look at that. And sometimes we got to be bold. Got to be bold like a lion. That looks pretty good. Might kind of go down a little bit. And let's see what happens if we go over here. So I did definitely draw around this eye. But this black line is pretty thick. And there's a couple of things coming down. But let's see if I can zoom out, or zoom in. Zoom in so you can see. Now this is something that you know, you can get a little worrisome about, because if you haven't practiced having a steady hand, you might end up you know, doing some weird shape. But if you keep practicing, you get better. You keep getting better. And that's what we want. We want to just keep improving. Don't ever think that you can't improve at something, okay? We all struggle to be perfect the first time we ever put a brush to the paper. And I think that that's a lie of the enemy, to be honest, that says you need to be perfect at something right away or it's not for you. And for me, I think I've told you guys my story about being, you know, in a class for watercolor artists back when I was in my 20s. And I did not like it because I was not good at it. And I was good at acrylic. So then I was like, well, this might not be for me, right? Did I think that it wasn't a good fit for me, this watercolor medium? Yes, I totally ended up thinking it wasn't for me, that I was no good at it, and so then I stopped doing it, and I pursued the acrylics, right? And so I liked doing my acrylic paint. I was very good at it and enjoyed it. And so recently, is like 5 years ago recently, I took up watercolor again. And this time I watched a different tutorial from Paul Clark, to be honest. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that there was more than one way to approach your watercolor painting, you know. So this is actually a pretty good reminder that when you are painting with something new, like watercolor or like maybe you're starting oil painting for the first time and you're like, I don't know if this is for me. Give it some time. Like, let yourself play with the medium. Try it for months before you give up. Follow different people on YouTube to see if there are any their techniques are better suited for you, because you know maybe you learn better from someone else. Maybe I'm not the best at teaching the watercolors that jives with you, right? And I'm not gonna be upset if y'all are like, you know what, your techniques don't help me, because that's how that one teacher I took a class from, his techniques did not help me. Okay, so I was like frustrated, but now that I've found someone who I do actually think is a fairly good teacher for me, for my style, I ended up liking watercolor again because of him. And I want you guys to like watercolor. I want you to enjoy this medium. I think it's kind of fun. Oh, there we go. Let's zoom back out. Check it out. It's coming along, y'all. It's coming along. And we got some time, but what I want you to see that I'm gonna do at this last part, let's see if we can get fair amount of this Payne's gray. And see, in here is super dark. And see how I'm just getting some of this hair like and it's still really wet down here, so it is kind of bleeding in, which makes it kind of pretty. I don't know. I like watercolors when they look kind of soft and blurry. But see how I'm getting that in there and then coming out from there. See? That's looking pretty good. I don't know if I can get a zoom in of that. I cannot push my painting anymore. But let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. So see how I'm just kind of going into the fur with the dark colors? That's what's going to make that look like fur. And the thicker your paint, the more it won't move. The thinner the water is on your brush, it may push and do some blooms. You won't know until you start doing it what it might do. Okay, you got to practice and try new things, try new techniques. Let's see how that's looking. And I'm just getting this darker color in here because I like it. Okay, I like this dark, super almost black. And Payne's Gray is my favorite black to use. See that? I'm just kind of getting it in there. I like that you can see very cool nuances. And see how I'm doing that brush stroke up into there? And that's making the light look like it's the hair is coming down. See that? So that's pretty cool how that's looking. Got to get some on here. Let's see if we can get some darker colors in there. Because this is his mane. His mane is super dark up there, right? Let's see, we got some dark up here. And I think I am going to leave this white up here. I think I like that kind of. So I'm going to be really feathering out. And that's like the dry brush technique up there. I'm going to get some more dark in in here, and you can even bring that almost to the hairline, and it's still really wet. I can try and see if I can zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. So like, see how I'm like bringing the brush into this damp area and it's feathering out? That kind of gives you that fur that you need. So yeah, sometimes this is a little more advanced kind of stuff, but y'all can do this. It's not brain surgery. We didn't have to go get a master's or a doctorate to be good at painting. We just need to practice. That's the most important thing. We got to practice, right? Let me see if I can get this part. And I want him to have lots of hair right there. It's kind of going off the edge, huh? But it's kind of cool too. Let's see how I just kind of fling in that and it's skirting across that paper. It's looking really pretty. When you zoom out, I'll show you. That's looking pretty good. And there's a lot of little tiny muzzle hair bumpy thingies, and I think this is dry enough that it won't spread too far. I am not sure though. Let's hope. Sometimes I mix up this color that's kind of like I'm hoping it's not too wet. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna do it furthest from the mouth. See if it's gonna do anything crazy to me. And see how I just did that? And you can do little dots. And this might be way too much. Sometimes this is way too much detail for me, y'all. And it looks a little dark. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. But they are a little bit dark, but that's okay because watercolor dries lighter than how it looks. Make those dots a little bigger because they almost look like they're together. And if you go in a straight line, that might not give you the curved illusion. So we're making an illusion here of the curved mouth. And I may end up doing some of that in there. And see how this is still really wet and I'm just adding that same color because we want some cohesion between this. So sometimes I just want to keep adding them layers in and using the colors that I'm mixing for other areas and just using them, right? So we're just using a little bit of color. Always being careful that you're not putting too much moisture in there or you don't want it, right? But he's looking pretty good. And I am also going to chisel out a little bit more in this area. See how I have to kind of make that darker down here? Because this is definitely furry. We want to give that illusion, right, of the fur coming out. But you're not trying to paint every little hair. We're just trying to give that wonderful illusion. And like, you can even soften that if your hairs are a little bit too something. You can soften that. I'm liking how that looks. But down in here, I think it's looking too something. I don't know what it is. Let me see if I can help it to look a little more shadowy because this is shadow, right? And shadows are just a little bit darker than areas around it, right? Look at that. I added some Payne's Gray in there, and that is looking pretty cool. And so I'm just spreading that out with a damp brush. I don't want to jinx it, but my dog's been pretty good out there. We didn't have no one coming to fix sprinklers today, but gosh, what is going on? Like, we have sprinklers out, we have car out, we have, what is going on, y'all? It's almost like everything is just falling apart. Let's see what this looks like zoomed out. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Does he look three-dimensional? Looks pretty good. Might add, I like to go bold at the end and let the Holy Spirit just kind of be like, just do it, just do something. And so a lot of times I'll just go in with like some wild strokes here and there and see what that does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes it's fun to just do it. And you won't know if it looks good until you try it. So definitely try it. We always got to try things, try new things, y'all. That's what I say anyways. I'm gonna keep adding a little bit to his face. I think his face is too green, too greeny. So look at that. I just added that, another glaze over the top. His eyes need a little darker around them. Let me see if I can do that real quick. I don't know, do you want to see me do it up zoomed in? Because it's just Payne's Gray. So my Payne's Gray is kind of drying, and I'm going to go back in and make that darker. Watercolor has a lot of nuances to it, but I like to darken these things. So look at that, how that's starting to look. Look at that. And his little muzzle, probably a little bit darker areas because I did the first wash with it, but I want some darker areas. So that makes it look a little bit more realistic, I should say. I think my honey's back, which means I could probably get my brushes, but this is okay. It's okay. We actually learned a lot from me not having my brushes, right? That when you don't have what you really need, you can still make things work. I'm liking that a lot. I might need this to be a little darker under here. Darker in there. Because look at the contrast. Doesn't that look good? Oh, sometimes I don't have the contrasting image there. That's looking pretty good, actually. I may even want this darker. Even a little darker than that. Which is this Payne's Gray. This brush is separating on me. So I don't know. I have not really used these brushes a ton because they're just not really my favorite to be. Probably just that I'm not using them enough, but they do separate out and I want a nice point. So if you want to splurge on a brush that's really good, I would splurge on the black silver or black gold. I think those are really good. But here's the thing. This is a lion. Y'all can tell this is a lion. If you're making stuff and it looks like what you want it to look like, you know, a lot of people do pet portraits, and I don't know if they even look really like the pet, but you know what? They're a style that people like, and so people enjoy that. if someone likes your style, that's when you start saying, okay, let's do this. Let's make a commission. So that is looking pretty good. I like it. I think it's super wet still. It's kind of shiny, see? But I'm liking how that looks. I could make his nosy a little more red. Sometimes that's something that you can. I just feel a little nervous to make it too red, but let's see. And just add some water to spread it. And then if you want to see it zoomed in, look at that nose. Look at those eyes. They're looking pretty good. I think it needs some more contrast through the face right here. And maybe some darker chiseling in there. I'm pretty close though. I think I'm pretty close to this being done. It's kind of hard to know for sure, but I think it's looking pretty close to done. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's one of those things that, you know, it's a little more challenging. A lot of times I think I paint something a little easier just because it's, you know, it makes it easier for you all to be able to do it, right, in an hour. And I try to paint within an hour. But let me see. I did want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about lions in the Bible. So, and I mean, we all use Google, right? We use whatever this is. AI kind of came up with something when I said, is there scripture in the Bible about lions? Because I'm, you know, pretty well versed. I've read the Bible almost 3 times now. And I do a lot of Bible studies, so I get a lot of scripture that way. But what does the Bible say about lions? It says that the scriptures portray lions as symbols of strength, courage, and royalty, such as the lion of the tribe of Judah in Revelation. And if you're not reading the book of Revelation because you're scared of it, I encourage you to read it as a Christian who knows they're saved, that these things won't happen to you. Okay, these are not the things that's going to happen to you as a Christian if you are saved. So just read it that way. Read it as a blessing to you to know how good God is. Hey, Pamela Woods. We need to get my viewership up. Yes, we do. Oh, I'm so sorry that you have autoimmune issues. That is terrible. I have, I'll give you some tips about being a Christian and having autoimmune. So the Lord put it on my heart to fast until my pain was gone. Do you know how long I didn't eat? A whole week. 1 week. It took 1 week. And then my pain was gone. And then when I went to my RA doctor, he said, your RA factor in your blood was 0. It had been as high as, like, I think 27, which some people are even higher than that. But fasting, prayer and fasting definitely works. I need to do another prayer and fasting for it, actually, because I've had some joint pain again. It's all the food we eat. We eat the bad food, and it just makes our joints hurt. I also take fish oil. So if you don't take fish oil, you need to take some fish oil. So anyways, but yeah, the Lion of Judah is represented by Jesus in the Bible. And then, of course, they also describe Satan as a roaring lion seeking to devour. And y'all, everything going on in our day and time right now is just evilness. It's evilness, okay? There's Satan trying to divide everybody. And there's even foreign countries trying to divide Americans against each other. And what I don't know if it was the 80s or just a feel-good time, but I feel like we all came together. Americans came together and loved each other and took pride in being American and having a country that was free. one that was standing for what's right, what's good, protecting. And so those are good things. And when you think about how other countries want to divide us, it gets us to fight each other. And that's what the lion, the enemy, wants to do. He wants to come in and fight amongst us. He wants to get us fighting amongst each other. So if you're thinking of ways to kind of reconnect with your friends who might be struggling right now, either they're sad or they're angry or they're confused, now's the time to just be the light of Jesus Christ. Just show them, hey, I know all this looks bad, but guess who's coming? Jesus. Guess who's going to make it all right? Jesus. Guess who gives me peace in my heart? Jesus. And if you want to have peace in your heart, you just need to read your Bible and see, why do people say God's not good? Because when you read your Bible, you see how very good He is. He gave us a way out of our sin. If we can't be good people, because nobody's really good, we can do good things, but even the best of us, we struggle with our thoughts. We struggle with not being kind sometimes when we should be, or patient when we should be, or supportive or generous when we should be. And so we struggle. We can't always do what we're supposed to do. And that's because we're fallen, sinful people. So we have a sin nature. And when God said, I really love my people, I really love these people I created, I want to have a relationship with them. I want to be able to be close to them. How do I be close to people who are fallen and sinful? I know I'll send my son to live a perfect life, to die the punishment for sin on a cross, and then he will rise again. And by people believing that what he did on the cross was saving them from their sin punishment, then I can have a relationship with those people. And all they have to do is believe, have faith that Jesus already paid the price for your sin. And we all have sinned. There's not one person on earth who has not sinned. When I was a little kid, I stole candy. That's a sin, to steal. And if you think about it, the enemy, he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So ask yourself those three things. Like, is it stealing? Even if it's, cheating on your taxes. Even if it's, you holding back something from someone that you were supposed to give them $20 and you gave them 15. And they're like, oh, did you give me that? Yeah, I did. But you're holding it back. You're still stealing. That's stealing. Kill. Anytime you kill. Like, I've even been rescuing little spiders out of my house. I don't even feel like killing bugs no more. Well, roaches, yeah. But I'm just talking like, you need to think about, people aren't going around killing. But what I'm saying is that if it's killing a life, even a bug's life, like, how are you feeling about that? And then destroy. Are you destroying families? Are you destroying communities with your words, with your actions? The enemy is using people to tear apart communities. The devil is using thoughts in your head to tear you from communities, get you isolated. That's what the lion likes to do. Isolate the victim, the weak ones, the loner, and take them out. So it's very important. Christians, you need to be in church. You need to be in a community, a small group. Someone will be there for you, help you to be better, help you to be more like Christ, help you to not worry, because a lot of times when we're alone, our thoughts spiral and get bigger and bigger until we're just so stressed out by our thoughts that we can't even function. So I trust that God made a way for us to have peace in our hearts, and that was through knowing that He's in control of all our circumstances. So, like, even if your car is breaking down, which I think my husband's actually in his truck over there. I don't know. Maybe he got it to work. That'd be great. When your sprinklers are leaking, What are some other things? AC gets struck by lightning. Like that was a very expensive one. I've had all these things. And what do? You know, I might stress for a minute because that's human nature to stress about your life. Um, oh, Pamela said, I found you while seeking out Christian artists on YouTube. Oh, that is good. I am so grateful. I know we need to be promoting Christian values, Christian faith. And it's not because we shake our and wag our finger at people. What we do is we say, come be part of my group. Come be part of my group. Let's help each other because I need help. I can't be perfect on my own. And I'm actually doing a Bible study about Proverbs. And it was talking about how we can correct each other with love. When you're Christians and you have a Christian friend who's maybe not doing Christ-like things, it's important that you kind of call that out and just say, hey, you're not doing a Christ-like thing. That's going to lead to harm for yourself. And it's kind of out of love. You tell them, hey, you're kind of not doing the right thing. You're not saying it because you want to be better than them. I've never done that. In fact, I hardly ever tell people they're doing the wrong thing because I just don't want them to think I don't like them or that I'm feeling better than them, because I'm not. I struggle. But I really welcome when people tell me that I'm not doing something Christ-like. And I had a really good friend encourage me with love by pointing out something I didn't do that would have been really important as a Christian in my faith and shining for others to see. So I felt bad. I really did. I felt bad that I messed up. But she, with love, corrected me. That is what Christians are called to do. Correct each other with love and be there to help. And I really do need help sometimes. We all do. We need each other. But yeah, I don't know if there's a specific prayer or scripture I wanted to read to you guys. I really I feel like just the whole Bible is so good at pointing out what we need to focus on. But if you don't have time to read the whole Bible, just download an app that has a verse of the day. And that's always an encouragement to me, because the Lord is my strength. And that's a good scripture to remember. He's our strength. Oh, here's a good one too. Psalm 34:18. It says, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. If you feel like your spirit's been crushed lately by just the hate in the world or the evil you're seeing, just know the Lord is close to you. And he's just waiting for you to ask him to come into your heart. Just ask him. Say, Lord, can you just show me? Show me how you are going to use this for good. Show me how you're going to mend relationships in this world, mend communities. And I'll tell you what, he shows up. Every time I ask him, he shows up. I open my Bible and I start reading. It answers exactly what I'm going through. But as a Christian, I'm not worried about this world. I am ready for the rapture whenever God is ready for the rapture. And, you know, what my church pointed out was that Paul and Peter in the Bible, which was 2,000 years ago, were ready for the rapture. They were waiting for Jesus' return. And every day they were closer to that day. Did they see it in their lifetime? No. But guess what? We are 2,000 years closer than they were to the rapture. Are we closer like today? I think we need to have that urgency that it's going to happen today. Because what would you do if you were told, oh, you got 10 more years till the rapture? Would you be working on the people in your life who don't believe yet? Would you be showing God's love to them and encouraging them to know Jesus? Or would you wait? Would you wait 9 years, 9.5 years? 9 3/4 of a year, when would you wait? Would you wait till the day before and just say, hey, he's coming tomorrow, I know it for sure, and you need to get right? How about you start today? Call up a friend that you think is kind of wishy-washy, maybe even those lukewarm Christians in your life that are like, I'm good, I don't need church, I believe. Well, what are their fruits? Are they showing that they're truly believers? Because I was lukewarm. I didn't care about anything like that. So I just want to encourage you guys that even as a lukewarm Christian myself, that I have changed and become a better person because of that. And trusting in God has relieved me of a lot of stress. I still get that anxiety once in a while, and of course the reminder to recall scripture that will help us, like this one, Psalm 34:18. That will be very helpful to remember when you're in a brokenhearted or crushed spirit. Just remember he's near you, and he's powerful, he's all-knowing, almighty, and he's coming back. And I just want you to know I love you guys, and I hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time, God willing, right?